So, picture this, right? You hop in your time machine, set the dial for the late 1800s, early 1900s, and you casually mention to someone that, hey, you take a shower every single day.
I imagine the reaction would be somewhere between bewildered amusement and utter disgust.
Totally. Because, get this, back then, a weekly bath was considered perfectly acceptable for many folks. It's amazing how these norms can change so drastically, right?
It really highlights how much of what we consider basic hygiene today is actually a relatively recent invention. And the story of how we got to daily showering is a fascinating one, filled with clever marketing and some seriously persuasive tactics.
And that's exactly where we're going with today's deep dive on But Why Though, our segment where we, your intrepid, inquisitive explorers, dig into the origins of, well, pretty much everything.
And today we're lathering up, folks. We're going to scrub away some misconceptions about daily showering and specifically how a certain soap brand, Lever Brothers Lifebuoy, played a pivotal role in making it the near-universal habit it is today.
So buckle up, fellow curious minds. You might just come away with a whole new perspective on that daily ritual you probably don't even think twice about. Ready to dive in?
Absolutely. We've got some fantastic sources for this deep dive historical analyses of Lifebuoy's advertising campaigns, explorations of their global marketing strategies, reflections on their cultural impact, and even some ethical considerations about those tactics.
It's a real mixed bag, but what ties it all together is this question. How did something as simple as a bar of soap influence something as personal as our daily hygiene routines? So let's start at the beginning, shall we? Lifebuoy, where did it all begin?
Well, we have to rewind all the way back to England in 1895 when Lifebuoy first hit the scene. And right from the get-go, they strategically positioned themselves as more than just soap. They were the health soap.
Health soap. I like how they just went for it.
Right. Even the name itself, Lifebuoy, with that iconic life preserver emblem, was designed to evoke a sense of safety and protection.
Like you're not just getting clean, you're warding off some invisible danger. And speaking of danger, the early Lifebuoy marketing was all about linking their soap to protection against some pretty serious diseases. Typhoid, cholera, diphtheria.
Oh, absolutely. An 1895 ad even had this dramatic tagline, "For saving life, for preservation of health." Talk about high stakes for a bar of soap, huh?
Not exactly your typical smell fresh and clean approach. It was like, use the soap or you might get typhoid. It was a different time, that's for sure.
And you know that distinct kind of medicinal smell Lifebuoy had?
Oh, yeah, that carbolic acid or phenol, to be more precise.
Exactly. That wasn't seen as a negative. They actually played it up as proof of its germ-fighting power.
So smart. Turning what could be a turnoff into a positive. Like, if it smells medicinal, it must be working.
Exactly. A sensory confirmation of its effectiveness. And, public health crises actually played a significant role in boosting Lifebuoy's image. For instance, during the devastating 1918-1919 Spanish flu pandemic.
When the whole world was terrified of germs.
Right. Lifebuoy seized that moment. They started running newspaper ads that cleverly combined public health messages about hand washing with, of course, promotion for their soap.
Like, hey, everyone's worried about germs. We've got the soap that kills germs. Problem solved.
And the brilliant part was, they were echoing the official advice from health authorities at the time. So they weren't peddling some fringe theory. They were aligning themselves with the very experts people were looking to for guidance.
It's like they were saying, we're on the same side in this fight against germs.
Yep.
Very clever.
It definitely gave them a boost in credibility. One ad, a 1919 ad in the Manchester Guardian, proclaimed, "The antiseptic cleanliness of Lifebuoy tackled the influenza scourge and left the whole family in smiling health."
Smiling health. That's some powerful imagery. And that same year, a U.S. ad even played the military card, point out that the Army required every soldier to carry soap.
Message being, of course, if it's essential for our soldiers, it's got to be essential for you, too.
It's all about leveraging authority. It wasn't just Lifebuoy saying their soap was great. It was doctors. It was the Army. And who's going to argue with that?
And that strategy of invoking authority, well, it was something they would return to again and again. It was a key part of their playbook.
So they nailed the health soap image. But how did we go from the occasional bath to daily showering? That seems like a big jump.
Well, that's the next chapter in this soapy saga. By the 1920s, Lifebuoy, along with other soap makers, started pushing the idea of more frequent bathing.
The ultimate goal, a daily shower, which was pretty radical for the time, considering the traditional Saturday night bath was still the norm.
And Lifebuoy's slogan at the time really sums it up. More than soap, a health habit.
A health habit. It's not just about getting clean, it's about making it a daily ritual, almost like brushing your teeth.
Exactly. And they really leaned into the expert authority angle to drive this message home. For example, they'd run ads aimed at mothers, talking about all the nasty germs lurking in their children's pores, talk about playing on parental fears.
Oh, for sure. Make those moms worry and then offer Lifebuoy as the solution.
Right, and they point out that Lifebuoy's red color came from wholesome palm oil, and that medicinal smell was actually proof of its germ-killing power.
It's not just red, it's palm oil red.
Precisely. And of course, no marketing campaign would be complete without a friendly, trustworthy doctor endorsing the product.
Oh, yeah. Those ads featuring the eminent MD who just happened to recommend daily Lifebuoy baths for optimal health. Like, where do they find these guys?
Well, sometimes those eminent MDs might have existed solely in the realm of advertising, but hey, it worked. People trusted doctors, and that perceived endorsement carried a lot of weight.
And of course, they kept bringing back that U.S. Army angle, subtly reminding everyone that even the military considered soap essential.
So between tapping into health anxieties, playing up expert endorsements, and pushing the idea of a daily routine, they were really shifting the cultural landscape around hygiene.
It was a slow burn, but they were definitely laying the groundwork for the daily shower becoming the norm. But then things took a bit of a, shall we say, dramatic turn.
Ah, yes. The BO campaign. This is where Lifebuoy really went for it.
This is the one that everyone remembers, right? BO, body odor. Two little letters that struck fear into the hearts of millions.
It's fascinating, isn't it? The concept of body odor wasn't new, but Lifebuoy took it and weaponized it.
Totally. They branded it as this hidden social flaw, this secret weapon of social destruction that could ruin your life.
Their ads were brilliant, really. They'd paint these vivid pictures of social disaster, the lost job, the heartbroken fiancé, the social snubbing, all because of BO.
It was like a soap opera of social anxiety, with Lifebuoy as the knight in shining armor.
And they often had this narrative of a well-meaning friend delivering the hard truth. You've got BO and you don't even know it.
Hey, don't worry, Lifebuoy's here to save the day.
And then, in the 1930s and 40s, the fear-mongering really ramped up. Ads had headlines like, BO body odor, the hidden enemy.
And that slogan, your best friend won't tell you. Genius. Now you're not only worried about having BO, but you're worried that no one's going to tell you if you do.
It's paranoia-inducing marketing at its finest.
Oh, and we can't forget those radio commercials. I mean, the imagery they used? That foghorn sound followed by that creepy boo to represent BO.
Oh, those were memorable. And then that stern voice booming, body odor will out, even your best friend won't tell you. It's enough to make anyone run for the shower.
It's almost comical now, but back then those ads were powerful. They tapped into this deep-seated fear of social rejection, and they were incredibly effective.
Lifebuoy became the top-selling soap, and people started bathing more frequently, not necessarily because they were obsessed with hygiene, but because they were terrified of being the BO person.
It's fascinating how they created this self-fulfilling prophecy. The more people worried about BO, the more they bathed, and the more it became the norm to bathe daily.
But, there's definitely an ethical debate to be had about these tactics. I mean, they were profiting off of fear and insecurity.
It's kind of messed up when you think about it. Like, body odor is a natural thing, and they turned it into this huge social taboo.
And it raises questions about whether the ends justify the means. Yes, they encouraged better hygiene practices, but at what cost?
It's a tricky issue for sure.
Now, it's interesting to note that Lifebuoy's story in the West actually diverges quite a bit from its story in other parts of the world.
Oh, right. In the West, Lifebuoy's popularity kind of faded over time, but in other places, it thrived.
That's because they were really good at adapting their message to different cultural contexts. It's a great example of how global marketing can be so nuanced.
So in the West, that strong carbolic smell that was once seen as a plus became a bit of a turnoff.
People started opting for more subtle scents, and Lifebuoy, with its medicinal aroma, started feeling kind of old-fashioned.
They tried to update the image, even came out with a coral-colored version.
But in many Western markets, they just couldn't compete with the fancier, more fragrant soaps and deodorants that were hitting the shelves.
So Lifebuoy sort of faded into the background. But in places like India, Africa, and the Philippines, it was a different story.
They tailored their message to resonate with local values and concerns.
For example, in India, they positioned Lifebuoy as a strong masculine soap, linking it to the British Indian Army.
But then after India gained independence, they shifted gears, emphasizing a more nationalistic, macho, sporty image, aligning with this idea of a strong and healthy nation.
And that Hindi jingle, Life Bri Hai Jahan, Tandurusti Hai Wahan, meaning where there is life buoy, there is health. It became super popular.
Almost like a patriotic duty to use lifebuoy.
Totally. And in British African colonies, they played up the idea that cleanliness was associated with civilization and moral virtue, contrasting it with the dirtiness they associated with the local population.
It was a tactic that unfortunately played into existing colonial power structures and prejudices.
And in the Philippines, they went for a different approach, focusing on both health and beauty, and they even got endorsements from local celebrities after making the scent a bit sweeter.
But despite these regional differences, there was a common thread across all these markets. They emphasized basic hygiene practices, like hand washing, often linking it to the prevention of local diseases.
It was a clever strategy that addressed real public health concerns while also building brand loyalty. And of course, we can't forget about their use of authority figures. That was a consistent tactic throughout their history.
Absolutely. We've talked about the army angle, but they really leaned into the authority of doctors.
Oh, yeah, all those ads with the eminent MDs recommending Lifebuoy and all those vague references to laboratory tests and doctors say.
And they'd highlight the carbolic acid as this special medically beneficial ingredient.
It was all about creating that perception of scientific backing and expert endorsement.
And that strategy continues to this day. In many parts of the world, they partner with health organizations and even get endorsements from medical associations.
They're still playing the authority card, and it works.
It definitely adds a level of credibility to their message.
So looking back at Lifebuoy's journey, it's amazing to see how much impact one brand had. They basically helped make daily showering the norm for so many people.
They took something as simple as a bar of soap and turned it into a symbol of health, social acceptance, and even morality.
And that BO campaign, wow, they really shaped the way we think about body odor.
And it's not just about body odor. They help solidify the idea that soap isn't just for cleaning, it's for health.
Like we need soap to protect ourselves from germs. It's almost like a medical necessity. And the way they used fear appeals and expert endorsements, it's a playbook that's been copied by countless other brands.
It's amazing how much influence they had on the entire personal care industry.
And then there's the whole idea of cleanliness being associated with virtue. That's something they really emphasized. And it's still something we see today, especially during public health crises.
Like being clean is good and being dirty is bad. It's almost a moral judgment.
It's fascinating how these ideas get so ingrained in our culture.
And it's interesting to see how Lifebuoy has evolved in recent times. They've kind of moved away from those fear-based tactics and now focus more on family health and germ protection.
It's like they've gone back to their roots as the health soap, but with a more positive spin.
So at the end of the day, Lifebuoy's story is a really compelling example of how marketing can shape our habits, our beliefs, even our values.
They didn't just sell soap, they sold an idea. And that idea is still with us today every time we hop in the shower.
So, for all of you listening, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Now that you know the story behind daily showering, does it change how you think about your own routine? Or maybe about all the messages we're bombarded with about cleanliness and personal care?
Does it make you question whether some of those messages are based on genuine hygiene concerns or just clever marketing? It's something to think about for sure. And if this deep dive into the world of soap and marketing has piqued your interest, we encourage you to keep exploring.
Dig into the history of advertising, or maybe look into how other personal care products became staples in our lives. There's a whole world of, but why though?
Yeah.
Out there just waiting to be uncovered.
And who knows, you might just discover that some of the things you take for granted have a much more fascinating story than you ever imagined.
So keep those inquisitive minds engaged, folks, because there's always more to learn and more to question about the world around us.